every show I do, there are 5 CNC products that consistently sell out. Now, I'm not just talking about good sellers, I am talking about completely gone by the end of the weekend type sellers. And here's the kicker. They are all products that pair well together, so upselling is practically already built in. Now, I know most of what I share on this channel is laser related, but some of my absolute best sellers actually come off the CNC. And the sales strategies we're going to go over today apply to anything. It doesn't really matter which machine you're using. So welcome to part 3 of my Made to Sell series, where I show you how to take simple designs and turn them into profitable product lines. And today, I am breaking down the CNC products that fly off my table every single time. And if you missed any of the previous Made to Sell videos, I will link that in the description and in the pinned comments so you can check those out when you have time. Now, before I get started, I do want to mention that 2 of the products that I'm going to go over today were actually designed by another maker. His name is Hamilton Dilbeck, and if you're not familiar with him, you should definitely check him out. He is awesome. He is another brilliant maker in the CNC community, and I will link his channel and his files in the description so you can check him out. All right, first up is whiskey smokers. Now, this is Hamilton's design, and these have been hot sellers for me for the past few years. Now, whiskey smokers do require a demonstration for the best sales results, and I display mine at the front of my booth with a big bottle of whiskey with the smokers on a rack right next to it that has a sign that says, "Ask to see how it works." And that stops people in their tracks because they are not expecting a big bottle of booze to be front and center on somebody's display table. Now, a lot of people aren't familiar with what a whiskey smoker is, so they typically say something like, "Okay, I'll bite. What's a whiskey smoker?" So I invite them to come into my booth all the way to the back, so they have to walk by all the other goodies I have in there, and I demonstrate how it works. Now, their reaction is always the same. Their eyes get really wide and they're like, "Whoa, how much are they?" So I tell them my price, and then I tell them they get a discount if they buy a bundle of 3. Now, demonstrating closes the deal about 75% of the time. And the bonus about doing a demo is that while you're demoing, there are usually people on the outside of the booth that are kind of watching, and they will usually pick up one too once they see how it works. These are super quick to cut. You can engrave them, like mine says whiskey smoker and it has a fire graphic on it. That's actually how Hamilton does it. You can personalize them, or you can actually laser engrave them, which I have started doing. So I did a show in the mountains in June, and I sold out of all of my whiskey smoker inventory. Now, I keep some oops ones on hand, some ones that I've messed up on the CNC machine. In case I ever sell out, I can sell them at a discount, and I sold out of all of those too. So I went back and did the show again in August. Now, at the August show, I took double the amount that I took in June, which I thought was going to be enough to get me through that show and this show that I have coming up this weekend. And spoiler alert, I was wrong. That was not enough, and I completely sold out again. So to get ahead of the curve, I actually have 80 whiskey smokers drying in the house right now, and I'm hoping that will get me through at least a few markets that I have upcoming. Now, when I sell things, I like to have complementary products to go along with them. It's an easy way to upsell or bundle, and it helps create cohesion in your product line. So when the whiskey smokers started selling so well, I was trying to come up with a companion product that would go along with it. And that's when I landed on the cigar tray. So I keep it right out front with the whiskey smoker display, and I have it staged with a rocks glass and some nuts and a cigar. And customers will walk by and they're like, "Well, now that's a brilliant idea." And they love them because they're great gifts for men who are notoriously difficult to buy for. Now, the cigar tray pairs perfectly with the whiskey smoker, so when someone buys a tray, it's easy to gently nudge them toward purchasing a whiskey smoker as well. Now, this is another sellout every single weekend, and at that same show I mentioned in June, I completely sold out. Even my display, which had blemishes on it, there was a gouge out of the side where I had messed up, and the wood had had some cracks in it that I had to patch. And I sold that one too because customers just love them so much. I engrave a compass rose on the bottom of the area where the glass sits, but this is perfect for adding some personalization to customize it. And like we've talked about in all my other videos, you can charge more for customized products. And I have actually had to increase my price several times just to keep up with demand, and they keep selling out. Every time I raise my price, they sell out even more. So this is a hot, hot seller. All right, next up is bow knives. So this is the second design of Hamilton's that I have in this lineup. And these are also on display at the front of my booth, just on the opposite side of the whiskey smokers. And it's staged with a breadboard and a loaf of bread. And I cannot tell you how many times people will come up to my booth, they will grab one immediately, come to the checkout stand, tell me how much they loved the one their grandmother had or their mother had, and they want one of their own. So now these things are sharp. So you definitely want to make sure you have a blade guard on them so customers don't cut themselves. And I just picked up these binding bars on Amazon, and I just cut them on the bandsaw. So they come bundled, so it's super easy to just run the whole stack through the bandsaw all at once. And then pro tip, after you have cut them, you want to take some compressed air and blow off all of the little plastic bits so they don't get on your blade. Also, you want to make sure you're using stainless steel blades so they don't rust. These bow knives, especially if you're doing an overnight market, they can get wet or they can get condensation on them from being out overnight, and nobody wants to buy a knife with a rusty blade, especially when they're going to use it on their food. So I will leave a link to the blades and the blade guards that I use down in the description below. And the companion product for the bow knife, you guessed it, is breadboards. So customers buy with their eyes first. So when you display a product, you want to display it as if it were actually in use. And having complementary products like the breadboard and the bow knives displayed and staged together makes it super easy for customers to either buy both for themselves or for the bread makers in their lives. Now, the breadboards are a unique design because they have grooves in them. And so it's a great conversation starter because I have so many people come up to me and say, "Why are there grooves in that board?" And I tell them it's to catch the crumbs so they don't get all over your counter. And they usually turn to me and say, "Oh, I love that. That's brilliant." So this is another super simple project to do on the CNC machine. And now this is my original design with, the grooves, but I've actually already changed it up. This is a board I haven't finished yet. I've got to put some board butter on it, but I'm going to use a bowl bit on this design because it's just going to make it so much easier to finish once it comes off the CNC machine. All right, now my fifth top seller is, drum roll please, the herb stripper. Now this is one of those small, simple products that customers don't know they need it until they see it. Now it's got a great price point for those impulse buys, and it's a fantastic add-on for checkout. Now, I like to refer to this as a gateway product. Once someone makes a small impulse buy, they're more likely to buy a higher ticket item as well. And most of my customers end up buying multiple herb strippers because it's an easy, giftable item. And when customers see it in my booth, they say, "Oh my gosh, that's so brilliant." And then they go on to comment about how difficult it is to pluck off individual leaves off of herbs. So, and some people actually ask me how it works. So I just tell them you take the end of the stem of the herb and you put it through the appropriate hole and you just pull it through and it just de-leaves all the herbs for you. It's super simple and super effective. Whatever. I'm trying to get it not to fall over here. So it'll work on anything from thyme to sage, and it's another super simple project on the CNC machine. It's just an 1/8 inch bit for the smaller holes and a 1/4 inch bit for everything else. And I actually like to engrave them with herb stripper on my laser. So it's very easy to tell what it is when you see it. It's obvious when people look at it. So, and don't forget to add your branding on the back. Pro tip. So I actually love this because it's a great blend of how the CNC and laser can be used together to create an awesome product. Now, I do have a couple of honorable mentions that I want to point out. Okay, first up is cracker trays. So these are great companions to charcuterie boards, and I engraved mine with crackers, so it's immediately obvious what it is. And customers are always picking them up and like trying to use them as an old-fashioned paddle, so I just tell them it is a dual-purpose product at no additional charge. And finally, seasonal trays. Now, seasonal trays are a great way to refresh your lineup and capture those holiday shoppers. So I have done in the past some Christmas tree trays and gingerbread man trays, and I've gotten some feedback on my gingerbread man trays that customers wish they were bigger so they could take them to cookie swaps. So again, this one isn't finished. I literally just pulled it off the CNC machine, but I did make mine bigger this year, and I think I'm actually going to scale it up even more because I do have some wood that is slightly wider, and I can make it even bigger for those customers who mentioned they want to take them to cookie swaps. And then this year, I am actually adding a nutcracker tray. So again, this doesn't have any finish on it, but I'm in the process of sanding everything. But I just love how this turned out. It's super cute. It's big enough for a cookie swap, and I cannot wait to get these into my booth at some upcoming markets. Now, of course, trays are not limited to just fall and Christmas designs. You could totally do a heart for Valentine's Day, a bunny for Easter, a turkey for Thanksgiving. I mean, you get the idea. The possibilities are endless. So, as far as selling, now I've already touched on these throughout the video, but here are my top takeaways for you. If there is a way for you to demonstrate anything you do, whether it's the whiskey smoker or if you have an on-site laser, that is going to stop customers because they can see you in action. So it does two things. One, it creates some kind of a disruption in what they see around them because they actually are seeing a maker make something actively. So it's going to stop them. It's going to catch their attention. And then the other thing that I really like is that it shows that you actually make your product. What I'm finding at a lot more of these shows is that it's what's called buy sell, and vendors will buy their product from China or from wherever, and then they will turn around and sell it at these markets. And so when a customer sees a vendor actually making a product they make or demonstrating it in some way, it makes a connection. It makes a connection to that vendor, and it shows the customer that the vendor is actually engaged in the process of making their own product. So the other tip that I have for you is to choose complementary products. You want your product line to be cohesive, and you want it to make sense, and you want your brand to be known for something. So having a lot of different products that pair well together is great for upselling. It's great for bundling. It's great for mixing and matching, and customers will typically walk away with more than they plan to buy because they see complementary products that they can envision using together in their home, which brings me to my next point, which is stage your products. So you want your products to speak for themselves, and if they don't, displaying them in a way that shows how they are used is great for customers to envision using that product in their own space. So having the breadboard with the bread and the bow knife, a customer can say, oh, I know exactly what that's for. I could totally use that in my kitchen, and they're going to pick up both. Same thing with the cigar tray. When I have the cigar in there with the rocks glass and the nuts, it's immediately obvious what it is. And customers can envision, who's that man in my life that smokes cigars and would totally love this? And they will pick it up as a gift. And a lot of times they will buy multiples because I have heard over and over again that whoever they're gifting this to has like a cigar club or a whiskey club. And so they will get it so that their husband or their boyfriend or whomever can gift the cigar tray to all of his buddies. So they all have it when they have their smoke night or whatever they call it. I also sell some spoon rests with, funny sayings like stir the pot or spoon me and things like that. And so I will have the spoon rest with a spoon displayed in front of where I have my spoon rest for sale, and it shows customers the product in use. And my last tip is to have varying price points. So you want to have that gateway product that's kind of like at a lower price point. And like I said earlier, it's a great impulse buy. And so when customers see that you have multiple price points, they're more likely to buy additional products because they see that they've got room in their budget to pick up this impulse buy that they want, and then maybe something else that they needed, like a cracker tray or a seasonal tray or something like that. So I have a whole bunch more tips that I am getting ready to share in just a couple of weeks on craft shows. Pricing, setup, breakdown, a checklist to make sure you have everything, how to take payment, all of the things for craft shows and markets, and you are not going to want to miss out. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can check out that series when I release it in just a couple of weeks. All right, so those are my best-selling CNC products. These are the ones that sell out at every single show. And the real secret here isn't just the products themselves, it's how they complement each other. And when you build a lineup where one piece naturally pairs with another, upselling feels effortless and customers end up walking out of your booth with more than they planned to buy. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and poke that subscribe button for more made-to-sell tips. And I would love to hear from you. What products consistently sell out in your booth? Drop it in the comments because your experience might just help someone else out too. And I will see you on the next one.